Hello, welcome back. My name is Lindsay and I am a knitter and a maker from the Pacific Northwest, and this is my knitting video podcast, episode 16, I believe. Today is Monday, November 26th, and it's very dark and dreary and wonderful outside, in my opinion. I really wanted to record a podcast episode last week, but it was Thanksgiving week, and I ended up hosting 2 dinners, one the weekend before and then one on Thursday on the actual Thanksgiving day. And so I had things were very hectic and we were really quite busy, so I wasn't able to get around to it. But that's okay. We're going to do it now. Actually, Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays, not because of the historical reasons, but because I really like hosting dinner parties. It's one of my favorite things to do. Just gather a bunch of people that I really like in one place and cook a bunch of amazing food. We always do this Friendsgiving gathering with my closest friends and some family members. Usually we do it sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas, so it's kind of a combined thing, but this year we decided to do it a little earlier, and that's always really awesome because all of my friends are amazing at cooking, and everybody brings a dish or two, and then I just kind of make the turkey and fill in the gaps where needed. And it's just a bunch of amazing food and amazing people getting together, and that's why I like Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving Day, we typically go to my husband's family's place, and it's really fun, but this year my husband had to work on Thanksgiving. He alternates with some of the other staff on who works what holidays every year, and this was his year to work Thanksgiving. So we did something a little different, and we just had a small family dinner with my dad and stepmom here, and I just made another tiny little turkey, and yeah, it was really nice because I just made a Thanksgiving dinner not too long before, so I was able to just kind of wing it, and kind of work intuitively in the kitchen and not have to follow a bunch of recipes and stuff. And I always like to kind of I don't know, just let my hands do the work, if that makes any sense. It's very therapeutic. So I had a lot of fun. This was a really good year. And I know that maybe next year will be a little bit less relaxing because we're going to have a baby, and it's always hard for me to kind of juggle doing all the things and watching little ones at the same time. Ella is just at this sweet age right now where she's going to be almost 4 when the baby is born, and she's so independent. She can sit there and play with her toys and just get lost in her mind for hours, well, an hour or two, and it's been a really sweet time, and I'm going to miss having so much free time, but obviously we are really, really excited to have another baby. So actually today I'm 24 weeks on the dot, and I've been feeling this one moving around in here. She's doing a lot of kicking. This is the sweet spot with pregnancy, the second trimester, when you can feel the baby moving and you don't feel sick anymore, or at least me. This is when things are really good, and so I'm very much enjoying life right now. Also, just because normally I feel like when the holiday season kind of comes upon us, I feel like I'm kind of in a daze because it just hits me and I never fully adjust, and I don't know, time just seems like it's passing by too quickly. But this year I am totally in the mood for Christmas. I've been waiting for Christmas. Like, I have all these things I want to make and do, and I'll kind of talk about that a little bit later when I talk about works in progress and future plans and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm really excited to go get our Christmas tree and to do all the Christmassy things this year. And I'm just really excited for winter. Like, I'm so in the mood for Christmas right now that I've been doing my Stovetop Simmer, which is this thing you can do. Just stick a bunch of aromatics in a pot with some water and let it boil, and then turn it down to a simmer. And you can let it go for however long you want, and it just fills the house with this like really fresh, Christmassy scent. And I posted about that on Instagram, I don't know, like a week ago, and I got so many questions that I decided I would kind of film like a quick little tutorial to show you how to do it, and I'll put that at the end of the video for anyone who's interested. And there will be timestamps in the description box if you want to go straight to it or if you want to skip it. So my first finished object is a second Anker's bonnet. This is the one that I showed you in the last episode, and this is the new one. And the only difference is that this one is made using a strand of mohair silk paired with the non-superwash merino. And so the color is just slightly different because the mohair silk was dyed using red onion skins, which for me was kind of created this green color. The non-superwash merino was dyed with lavender and then modified with iron, which gives this kind of greenish gray hue. So yeah, it has this kind of soft green gray color to it. And it's also a little bit bigger than the first one, which is exactly what I wanted because I knit several little tiny baby bonnets for my daughter when she was baby, and so I have the smaller sizes covered, but this baby is another spring baby, and it won't get super cold until she's, I don't know, 9 months or so. I ended up kind of unintentionally modifying the pattern just in this section because I made the little sections a little smaller than the pattern calls for, and so therefore I had to create more of them to get the right length for the bonnet. And also in the pictures, the bonnet sits kind of far back on the head, and I wanted it to sit a little bit more forward and maybe even kind of hood a little bit. So that's what I'm hoping to have achieved. But otherwise the stitch counts are correct, and I went with the, I think it might be the third size, the one where you cast on 101 stitches. And yeah, the back is exactly as written, and little I-cord pieces. So the reason that I made 2 of these is because this one is going to another little baby who's going to be born either a week earlier or a week later. I think a week later than my daughter is. And I didn't want to add mohair to this one because I know that some people are really allergic to mohair, and I feel like I didn't want to risk that. If I put this on my daughter and she has any kind of reaction, I feel like I'm going to know what exactly is going on, and I'll be able to identify that and take it off. And it's no big deal because I'm the one that spent the time knitting it, you know. Unless the baby is really sensitive to wool. This is like 19.5 microns, and it's very, very soft. This should work just fine, and hopefully not cause any kind of reaction. So it still smells like lavender. Still. Okay, so my second finished object is another petite knit pattern. I made these little garter stitch bibs. I think the pattern is called Sigge's bib. I think that's how you pronounce it. Sigge. And it's just a really, really simple garter stitch wool bib. And I remember when my daughter was teething, you know, babies, they just constantly drool when they're teething. And I would put her in these little cotton bibs and they would soak through and they would sit on her shirt or her onesie or whatever, soak through that too. And there were a couple times where if we didn't change it frequently enough, she would start to get a little bit red, a little bit of a rash or something. So I kept thinking during that time that I should look into making some bibs out of wool, specifically for the drool, because wool is so good at absorbing liquid and keeping you dry. And I also thought due to the antimicrobial properties, you might be able to go a time or two between washing, which would be nice. So I am gonna make several of these, and right now I just have this one, which is made from leftovers of my Norte cardigan, and this one, which is made, you've seen this yarn a lot, it's my madder dyed non-superwash DK base, and I used this initially to make a cardigan for my daughter last year, and then I also made some acorn mitts recently with him. I am a little bit worried about this one because the wool is more rustic and it has some of the lanolin still in it. So I'm wondering if it will absorb the liquid at all or if the drool will just dribble down. But I thought it would be fun to try it out anyway, and I really love the marled effect with the garter. It's so pretty. This one I think will absorb a little better just because even though it's a non-superwash, I feel like it's, I don't know, it's really soft in it. It doesn't have any of the, I don't feel any lanolin in there, and you know, it takes color really well, so I think that it probably doesn't have any of the lanolin. And I don't know, it's just really soft. It's like 19.5 microns. So I'm probably going to make more using my the base that I dye on most frequently, which I love. Anyway, it'll be a while before I can use these bibs, but I will try to remember to follow up with you guys and let you know how they work out for me. And for the last baby knit for today, I made these baby mitten socks by Barbara Prime, which is a pattern that I have heard from numerous other people, mostly podcasters. I can't even remember everybody who's mentioned them. They just kept coming up in different people's podcast episodes. And what people were saying was that out of all the baby socks that they've ever knit, these fit the best. So I thought I would go ahead and just use up some scraps and make a couple of pairs. These two pairs are going to be going to someone else. Actually, this pair is going to be going to someone else, to that other baby that I keep talking about. I'm going to be sending like a bundle of little baby goods in exchange for some Bath and Body stuff. But this pair I initially was going to make for that baby, but what ended up happening was I ran out of that main color, which was something that I dyed naturally a while back. And while I was knitting these, I didn't bother to weigh how much yarn I had left after I finished the body on this, which would have been a really good idea, but I was just lazy. So what I ended up having to do was, for the second one here, I switched to a different brown, and yeah, I'm not really cool with sending that off as a gift. I'm fine with using it for my baby, but for this other baby, I want to make a pair that actually matches. So these take like no time to make. I can make 1 or 2 pairs in an evening, and so I'm going to be making a couple more pairs for probably my daughter and for this other baby as well. And I'll probably adjust needle sizes and try to get a slightly larger pair of socks, just so there's a little bit of variation in size. They're so tiny and cute. I love them so much. I remember when Ella was born just being in awe of how incredibly tiny her feet were, so I'm sure they'll fit, but it's hard to imagine that right now. And it's been a while since I've seen a baby, like a newborn. It's always a little bit shocking to see how tiny they are. So that was it for baby finished objects, but I do have a couple adult finished objects to show you. And the first are my simple Skype or skip socks. Skip stands for slip, knit, yarn over, pass, I believe. It's just a simple technique, and it's just something that the designer kind of incorporates in the middle of the ribbing to add a little bit of interest. And personally, I found it really therapeutic to knit this stitch because my hands really enjoyed the movements and because it was easy to memorize. So I would definitely make these socks again, especially in a solid or semi-solid color like this, because I think that it's just like a really classy pattern that works really, really well for masculine and feminine styles. And yeah, I've got nothing but good things to say about this pattern. It's free, so if you are looking for a really easy, basic sock pattern, try this one out. And this yarn is on my American sock base, which is an 80/20, and I dyed it with walnut and cochineal a while back, and I sold most of the skeins that I dyed, but I kept this one for myself because it had a little bit of a flaw. But in knitting the fabric up, I can't even find where the flaw was. I think it was this splotch of really dark, like kind of black that came through, and I'm not even sure why that happened. Here it is. Let's see if I can show you. You see where it's black there, or really dark brown? You could see it in the skein. It was just like a dot, and I thought, I probably shouldn't sell that, or if I do sell it, I should sell it at a discount. But honestly, it doesn't really show up in the fabric at all, and I personally like little, I don't know, hints of things like that, especially in a semi-solid yarn. This yarn color has got lots of striping, lots of little brown areas. It's just, I really want to recreate this color at some point, but that means that I need to dye on more superwash yarn, and I do have quite a bit of this sock base left in my stash, but I just haven't been dyeing on it. Lately I've been dyeing on a lot of non-superwash merino, so because that's just what I need to get through. I have a large quantity of it and I need to kind of dye through it, so and I don't know if I can achieve something this intense with non-superwash or just 100% wool. And then last but not least for my finished objects, I have these mittens. I should have looked up how to pronounce them. Is it Evja? EVJA. They are one of the Selbu mitten patterns from Ellie of Skeiner Knits' second Selbu mitten club, and I love them. That's the back, that's the front. I knit these using Rama Strikke and for me, they turned out just a little bit too big, though still definitely wearable. Just nice and loose, which I like. But they fit matte perfectly, so I think the other two mitten patterns in the second mitten club are a little bit more feminine in design, and so I thought it would be perfect to give this pair to Matt, and I told him he could have them as soon as I share them in the podcast. So he wanted to take them to work today, but I was like, no, not yet. But he let me take some photos of him wearing them yesterday, and I'm just, yeah, I couldn't be more pleased. I think that they're great. I was a little bit worried because I used sort of a low contrast color combination. And I did so intentionally because I just like low contrast for color work. But I knew it was going to be kind of iffy. And I'm really, really happy with how they turned out. One thing that was tricky is that I used, you know, like a white-ish yarn and a grayish yarn. And I reversed the gray parts with the white parts in the chart. So I had to keep remembering that anytime I saw a gray square, I had to knit the white with the white yarn and vice versa. And it took my brain a little while, and there were a couple moments where I was like, but I'm sure I could have reversed the colors if I wanted to, but I just didn't care that much. But yes, Ellie's patterns are amazing, and I'm gonna knit all of her mittens eventually. So yeah. For those who are interested, the white is colorway 100 and the gray is colorway 104. So I actually only have one work in progress to show you right now, but I have several projects that I'm kind of mulling over and planning on casting on really soon. In some cases the yarn just hasn't arrived, and in some cases I just haven't found the right pattern, but I know kind of roughly what I want to do. So I mentioned before that I'm really getting into the holiday spirit, and one thing that I've always wanted to make are our family stockings. I've always wanted to knit them. I actually knit a giant stocking for my daughter a couple years ago using Lion Brand Fisherman's wool, and it just didn't quite turn out to be what I wanted it to be, if that makes any sense. I think part of the problem is just that I didn't really know what I want. I knew I wanted something knitted, and I knew I wanted it to be like a neutral color, probably something even undyed, but I don't know, over time I feel like I've honed in on my style a little bit more, and like what I want to see every year. So I kind of had Christmas knits in mind, especially stockings, when I went upstairs to look through my leftovers and my stash and kind of see if there was anything I could use. And I immediately spotted my pile of leftover Plotolopi from the Ito shawl and thought maybe I'll try to make a Christmas stocking out of it, which could be a mistake because, you know, it's an unspun wool, so you know, I'm not sure how durable it will be as a stocking, you know, something that you have to stuff toys and things like that in, you know, especially in color work because the little floats could snag. But I posted about this on Instagram today, and I've already gotten several people suggesting that I could line it, which I don't have any idea how to do, but that's something that I would be willing to look into. I really like how lightweight this is and how kind of structured it is. And of course I love how sheepy Plotolopi is. So I started with the darkest color because that's the color that I had the most of, and I just kind of wanted to see about size and you know, how big I want to make these. But my plan is to use all of the other colors as well, and to do different things with each stocking. Like maybe I'll do one in complete seed stitch, maybe I'll do one in reverse stockinette. I don't necessarily plan to do color work for each of the stockings. I just didn't want something that was going to be a solid dark color like this, because our walls, like we have this one black accent wall in this bedroom, but I swear like the rest of the walls are white. In the dining room we have 3 walls that are like a gray color, and so I wanted something that would go well against the gray over the fireplace, and So I didn't think that a dark color, like a solid dark color, would work really well for that. So that's why I opted to try color work, and I love the way that it looks. It just reminds me of snow, kind of. Someone asked me if I'm working off a design. No, I'm not. This is actually my vanilla sock pattern, just using bigger needles and a thicker gauge yarn. So I cast it on 64 stitches, and now I'm to the point where I'm going to go ahead and start the heel, and I'm probably going to do a garter short row heel and then continue on with the color work until I have the end of the stocking. So, and I'm probably going to try to make them all around the same size, and I'm probably going to do a little I-cord hook, and I don't know if I'll want to have them folded or just up like this, but either way I really like the way it looks. So yeah, Christmas stockings. Hooray for spontaneous cast-ons. I'm hoping it'll turn out. I really like what's happening so far. So another thing that I'm eager to cast on for soon is a little baby cardigan for baby number 2. I don't exactly have a cardigan pattern in mind yet, but I know that I want to use this beautiful yarn that was sent to me by a viewer, and I don't know if she wants me to say her name, so I won't. But if you know who you are, if you're okay with me telling everyone that this is you, then let me know. But yeah, this is her hand spun, and it's so beautiful. This is Falkland Merino, 70 meters or 76 yards. And it's so pretty. I think it would be beautiful for a baby knit, especially if I could turn it into a cardigan somehow. And then this is handspun Norwegian wool. It's 90 meters. Come on, focus. There we go. And I thought maybe I could try to pair the two together into something, but obviously I'd have to find something, and it would have to be really small. So I don't know. I really love like Anker's cardigan, petite knit. And there's another cardigan that I've been looking at too that might work for this. But if anyone has any ideas of like a cardigan or a little vest or something like that that you think would be up my alley, please let me know, because I really want to make something with this. It's so beautiful. It really makes me want to learn how to spin, which is not something that I was all that interested in until recently. So, and it's because it started with natural dyeing. When I realized that I could dye the fiber first and then spin it up into this completely different thing, it just opens up this whole new world of color possibilities. And so yeah, this like kind of interest in spinning is starting to tickle the back of my brain, which means that it's gonna, if I do end up spinning, it'll be like way in the future. But yeah, it's something that I'm thinking about. And then I don't typically participate in Black Friday, but this year I knew that I wanted to make a bunch of little Christmas gnomes. I've been watching Ava's podcast, The Charm of It, and she has been making all these little gnomes, and I decided that I'm going to make a bunch of Christmas gnomes. So I took advantage of the Black Friday sales on Knit Picks and got some of their palette yarn and a bunch of Christmassy colors, and I'm not sure when they're going to arrive, but as soon as they get here, I'm going to start casting on for little gnomes and make all the Christmassy things, which it's something that I've been wanting to do for years, but I feel like with the new baby coming, I am in nesting mode, and so I want to do all the things that I've been wanting to do and have been putting off, and that I know I'm not going to have time or energy for later. I'm just eager to get that all done right now. So yeah, hopefully the next time I record, I will have some gnomes to show you, and they won't be awful. I don't really have a lot to talk about regarding natural dye this week. I am dyeing a whole bunch of yarn right now, and I'm also Still dyeing some of those little white onesies that I shared in the last episode, but I think I'll save all that for the next episode. Some of you guys have been asking me about when I'm going to have another shop update, and originally I thought I would try to squeeze one in at the end of this month or the beginning of December, but I've been kind of out of the rhythm of doing shop updates, and I've been trying to really enjoy the process of dyeing, and I just made the decision a couple days ago that I probably won't have a shop update until after the new year, because I want to focus this time on kind of developing a plan and kind of getting back into the rhythm of things. And I feel like the New Year's is kind of the perfect time to start that process up again. And I know that we're going to be having our baby in spring, and that will kind of mess with the routine for a little while, but it is my intention to keep going and to kind of set myself up for maintaining some semblance of a rhythm. Again, I'm probably going to take a month off, but after that I would like to continue my work. So it just helps. And I feel like natural dyeing is something that I can do while taking care of the kids, and I feel like it will fit into the rhythm of our life really well. My husband and my daughter go out to the forest every weekend, and this last weekend they brought me back some pine and some fir because Matt knows that I really like to do a lot of decorating for Christmas. So I'll be making little wreaths and probably garlands and things like that. With Ella, I think it'd be fun to do little craft projects with that. But another thing you can do is make a stovetop simmer. So you just put some pine and or some fir into your pot. I like to add cranberries for both aesthetic purposes and also because the smell of cranberries is actually quite pleasant in my opinion, especially when you pair it with some oranges. So I like to cut up some little mandarins or clementines or oranges or whatever I have in the house, which I always like to have oranges in the house during this time of year because it just makes me feel kind of bright. It's a little piece of sunshine. And you can squeeze the juice in if you want, or you can just slice them up. And then I like to use whole cinnamon sticks, but you can also crush up the cinnamon sticks. It's up to you either way. What else? You could use other spices, basically whatever you want. But I like to keep it simple and just use those ingredients. And then you just top all the ingredients off with like a quart of water. And then you can stick it on the stove, turn it on medium, and then wait for it to boil, and then turn it on low and let it simmer for an hour or two or however long you want, and it'll make your house smell amazing. It's a really light and fresh scent. If you're someone who struggles with smells that are too abrasive, like too chemically, then this is something that you might want to try. Like, I cannot do air fresheners at all. Not the spray kind, not the plug-in kind. They're all too harsh for me, and they kind of give me a bit of a reaction because I have asthma. But I often diffuse essential oils, and that's nice and mild. And I also, with a stovetop simmer, it's also mild. I especially like putting the stovetop simmer on after I cook a dinner because it kind of rids the air of that food smell and makes everything smell nice and fresh and Christmassy. And if you wanted to, you could put all the ingredients in a little cellophane bag and bring it to a dinner party as a really nice hostess or host gift. Something different than wine. The only thing is that you would probably want to let the host know that they should store it in the fridge and probably use it within a week. You can make it super cute and add a little tag with instructions or something. So I just thought I would share that because it's a really wonderful way to get into the Christmas spirit, because the aroma of the fir and the pine is very Christmas tree, and then it's kind of sweetened by the orange and the cranberries and the cinnamon. It's Christmas to me. That smell is Christmas, and it's nice and light and fresh, and it would also make a really great gift idea. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next episode. Oh, one thing I did want to mention is there's this show on HBO called My Brilliant Friend, and it's amazing. And it's based off of novels written by Elena Ferrante, I think is her name. Let me double check that. Yeah, her name is Elena Ferrante, and from what I've read about her, she's kind of a reclusive author. Like, she doesn't let herself be known. I think she's working with the people who are doing the show, but she only corresponds via email or something like that. So, yeah, they don't really actually know who she is. And I feel like if I were to ever author a book, that's exactly how I would do it. I wouldn't want to do book tours or anything like that. I would just want to like write the books and put them out there and then hide. But anyway, the show is amazing. The costumes and the colors are beautiful. It's got this like dark moodiness to it, which I think you guys probably know I like. And yeah, it's just really wonderful. And I've heard so many good things about the books. I'm definitely going to read them. I have a friend who has offered to loan me the books. So I'm going to take her up on that and probably devour them all within a week or something. So anyway, I just wanted to recommend that to you because like I feel so affected by it. Like I really love it. It's about two girls, from what I can surmise, it's about two girls and their relationship from childhood to later in life. And all of its complications and stuff. So, okay. That's it. That's it for this week. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye. Big hugs. Big hugs.
We can't see the bedroom.
For a little while.
What's that?
That's my coffee.
And where did it go now? Mommy, don't do my hair again.
I'm going to put it in a ponytail so it stays out of your face.
Here is the chimney. Here is the chimney. Here's the top. Open the lid and pop. Teacher Mindy said that.
Don't pick your nose.
Yeah, gross. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little reindeers, 4, 5 little, 6 little reindeers, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little reindeers, pulling Santa's sleigh. Hey! Now can you turn it off?
Okay. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.